In May 2021, Apple released the all-new redesigned silicon iMac, iMac M1. This was Apple's first iMac since its transition to silicon processors. iMac M1 was a revolutionary launch for Apple, as it resolved most issues Apple consumers had with the previous iMacs and Mac Pro. But that doesn't mean that the iMac M1 was flawless. The little nicks and necks with the iMac M1 will soon be resolved with the upcoming 27-inch iMac Pro 2023, as it's in active development, as confirmed by Mark Gurman. If you're looking forward to this new iMac Pro, then you're in luck, as in this video, we'll be covering the latest iMac Pro leaks. Now before we begin, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel, as we're constantly uploading such tech-centered videos like this one. Well, let's get into it. From recent leaks, we know that Apple is currently working on a monstrous 32-core chip that'll pack immense processing power and speed. However, this chip will be limited to the next-generation Mac Pro and not the iMac Pro. According to Mark Gurman, the iMac Pro will be the first iMac to feature the all-new M3 Pro and M3 Max chips to boost its performance. The M3 chips will have a 3nm process node manufactured by TSMC, which they are calling the N3. The N3 will help iMac Pro in performing to its max performance by giving it a significant boost in GPU and CPU. The development of the N3 is most likely holding the launch of the iMac Pro, as TSMC has confirmed it'll be shipping the 3nm process nodes to its customers in the first quarter of 2023. TSMC claims that the N3 technology will offer up to 70% logic density gain, up to 15% speed improvement at the same power, and up to 30% power reduction at the same speed when compared with N5 technology with the M1 chip. These performance boosts would allow for an even smoother user experience, running graphic-intensive games, improved high-res video editing, and much more. With these specs, iMac Pro would be leaving the competition way behind in terms of speed and performance. Here a question arises. Why is Apple including the M3 chips in the iMac Pro instead of the already high-performing M2 chips? This is because Apple wants to utilize the highly efficient 3nm nodes manufactured by TSMC in their iMac Pro to increase its efficiency by tenfold. The N3 chips would provide the iMac with a significant bump in processing speed and GPU performance. Until now, we don't have much information about the full specifications of the iMac Pro, but according to some reliable sources, we can make educated guesses about them. The entry-level model of the iMac Pro should have at least 8 GB of RAM alongside a 256 GB solid-state drive storage. However, we expect Apple to include 16 GB of RAM as it would be essential to make the model Pro. Mark Gurman also claimed that the iMac Pro might come in two different versions, a baseline model with a regular M3 chip and a high-end model with the M3 Pro or M3 Max. The iMac Pro won't be much different than its predecessors, the 24-inch iMac, the Pro Display XDR, and the Studio Display, in terms of design. The iMac Pro would feature black bezels, just like the Pro Display XDR. However, these bezels would be much slimmer in size, and we could also see a smaller bottom chin to give a higher screen-to-body ratio. Like the iMac M1, we could also see the iMac Pro in a wide range of vibrant, eye-catching color schemes. While we're on the topic of design, let's discuss another significant upgrade to the iMac Pro, i.e., the display. According to Ross Young, the iMac Pro would have a 27-inch display adopted from the MacBook Pro's mini LED display technology for brighter colors, deeper blacks, and higher dynamic range. Moreover, it would also feature the highly anticipated 120Hz ProMotion display that would provide a smoother browsing and gaming experience. The ProMotion would also allow for smoother animations throughout the macOS. With these upgrades in the iMac Pro, Apple might be attracting gaming enthusiasts and game developers to the macOS. These high-end specs we've discussed are ideal for running GPU and CPU-intensive games on their highest settings. Like the iMac M1, iMac Pro will most likely have similar USB-C Thunderbolt ports, an SD card slot, an HDMI port, and an Ethernet port inside the power adapter, which would be identical to that of the iMac M1. The camera on the iMac Pro is also scheduled for an upgrade, as most Apple consumers weren't happy with the quality of the webcam. The web camera on the iMac Pro would feature the same 1080p max resolution, but with enhanced imaging capabilities. Thanks to the M3 chip, the image processing on the iMac Pro would be significantly increased so that you can have high-quality FaceTime calls. Now is a good time to discuss the release date of the iMac Pro, as most people are expecting it to be released by the end of 2022. Sorry to burst your bubble, but according to Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo, the iMac Pro is scheduled to launch at the end of 2023. Now, this delay occurred as TSMC is currently manufacturing the 3nm process node, which would be a key component in Apple's M3 chips. Apple will be receiving these 3nm process nodes in the first quarter of 2023, and they'll soon begin the production of the iMac Pro after that. Well, now let's come to the part you've been most eagerly waiting for, the iMac Pro's rumored price. These crazy new features and upgrades come at a higher price. And unfortunately, this time, Apple did not hold back on the prices as the iMac Pro will be significantly more expensive than the 24-inch iMac M1. We can expect the iMac Pro to be launched with a price tag of $2,500 to $2,800. This price tag might be a significant jump from the iMac M1, but this is solely due to the M3 chip, ProMotion display, and mini LED display. Well, that's all I've got for you today. These were some of the key leaks from the highly anticipated iMac Pro. Let us know in the comments section what you think about the upgrades and if the higher price is justifiable or not. And while you're on the way down, do give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And we'll see you in the next video with new tech leaks and news. Until then, have a nice day.